Hey everyone, we're almost there, but we'll get it. How many folks we have?
Where's the train, Kim? I don't hear
Here's
the
the train.
train.
I don't have the train. Well, for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is going to be a great breakout session with Drew and Robbie. I think just to kind of keep us on time, I'm going to give you both their intros, and then I'm just going to pop it over to you, Drew and Robbie, and let you all take it from there, and then that'll give us time for questions at the end. So I'll buzz through this really quick, but Drew Bajard is on, one of my favorite people in the area. Drew is the VP of Marketing at Bristol Motor Speedway. He originally comes from Boston and decided to come south to go to school at Elon University in North Carolina. After college, Drew worked with Newell Rubbermaid, which is how he got connected with Bristol Motor Speedway through the Sharpie partnership and what was known as the Sharpie 500. Drew's been at BMS for about 10 years, and his wife, Jessica, they have 3 kids and they live in Johnson City. So Drew, we're excited to hear from you. And then we also have Robbie Phillips on the phone today. Robbie joined Corporate Image in 2003 and has served the organization in a number of capacities, ranging from project management, client relationship development, to serving as strategic consultant with current and potential clients. As Vice President, he is responsible for overseeing the public relations, marketing, and advertising functions for Corporate Image and corporate marketing. Robbie also plays a key role in new client expansion across regional and national markets. Prior to joining Corporate Image, Robbie was a reporter for Bristol Herald Courier. He holds a master's degree in corporate and professional communications from Radford University, and Robbie and his wife Leanne live in Abingdon with their 2 daughters. So Robbie and Drew, I'm just going to send it over to you guys and let you all handle it. And then if anybody has questions as we go, please put that in the chat and I'll ask those at the end.
All right, very good. Well, thank you, Kim. And just on behalf of Drew, we just want to say thank you all for the opportunity to be with you today, and just excited to share some insights with you. We're going to cover 3 different areas, looking at media relations, social media, and then also digital marketing and advertising. So it'll be quite a bit of information. I know we have limited time, so I'm going to speak fast if you'll listen fast. That way we'll give you an opportunity to ask any questions you might have at the end. But as we look at media relations, and I see that our good friend Scott Robertson's on the call today, so hello, Scott. But as we think about just a key takeaway from the media relations part of the discussion, we often say that what people think about your company or your organization is shaped by what they hear, see, or read in the media. And if you think about some personalities, I don't know if anyone on the call today has met, say, Peyton Manning. Maybe some of you have, or let's just say like Tom Brady. You have an impression of those guys based on what you've experienced, what you've witnessed in an interview, what you've read in a story, what's been covered. If we think about organizations, we have impressions of a company, of an organization, based on how they've handled themselves through a media interaction. Today we're talking about a lot about travel and tourism. We have impressions based on destinations, based on media exposure. So taking all that in consideration, why is it important? It's important for us to create those positive connections with our audiences. We all have audiences with whom we need to communicate, right? If it's travel tourism, if we work for manufacturing companies, healthcare organizations, we need to engage those organizations in a number of ways, those audiences. And one way we do that is by leveraging the third-party credibility of the media. We all know it's one thing to pay to have our organization's message shared with our audiences, but it's another thing to have the media tell our story for us. And in doing so, it gives our organization, it gives us that legitimacy that we need. So a few tactics I want to run through. One way to go about doing that, first and foremost, we need to have those relationships with reporters that are in our region, in our community, but also that are in our industry. And doing that, getting to know them simply by introducing ourselves. I know that obviously over the past 12 months, that's been quite difficult as far as in-person interactions. But really, it's just letting them know that you're accessible, because really the media, they look to us, yes, for to some extent an explanation, but they look to us to be accessible. They want to have that accessibility, someone who's going to be available to talk to them. So we like to refer to it as be the SME, the SME, and that's that subject matter expert, so that you can be that go-to resource when media need insights or perspectives on a topic that concerns your industry. If it is travel tourism, if it's destination locations, so that media can come to you to be that expert, to be that authority. And then you want to establish that steady drumbeat of media outreach and coverage. We refer to it as a bank of goodwill, if you will. And if you think of it as a bank of goodwill, because at some point, every organization, no matter the industry in which you operate, you're going to encounter a crisis. So you're going to have bad news at some point. We know that, but that experience doesn't have to define the organization. And if you've cultivated those media relationships all along, and you've told those positive stories, when that negative story does hit, it's not going to, we say it's not going to deplete your account, right? Because your audiences are used to hearing from you on an ongoing basis, and they know that you're legitimate, they know that you're transparent, that you're reputable. And then finally too, when you're pitching that story, when you're sending out that news release, you want to ask those questions. Okay, is this relevant? What's the hook? What's the impact? If you can answer all those questions in a positive way, you also want to ask yourself, is this timely? I can tell you right now that over the next week, we're going to be very selective, if anything, that we're going to pitch to media, because the races are going to be in town, and we know what's going to dominate the news cycle, right? So we're not going to go to war with Drew, because they're going to own that. So it's very important to be careful about how the timing of your releases. And then finally, localized stories. What is it that's happening on the national level? What's happening in our world? And is there a story that could be told on a local or a regional level? Obviously, over the past year, media have looked at the effects of COVID shutdowns being the national story. And media have talked to local restaurant store owners about how they have been impacted. We heard some of that just a few minutes ago from some folks. But it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. If you've positioned yourself and your company as that subject matter expert, you won't have to necessarily seek the media out. They will seek you out for perspective. So with that, I'll shut up and I'll hand it over to Drew.
And that was great. Great job.
That was great, Robbie. I learned some things right there, man. That was good. Nice to see a lot of friendly faces out there. I know, again, yeah, Robbie and Kim and I have a short amount of time, so we're gonna try to make it as high impact as we can. And there's a lot of marketing experts on here already, so I feel a little out of my depth here, but I'll try my best. So a few things I wanted to focus on today with you guys. Thinking about low budget. If we have low budgets, we've got to make an impact. What Robbie talked about with the press and with media, those are great tactics. Those are great things. Tell a good story, be relevant, all those things. So I wanted to focus on a few marketing tactics and tools as well. The first one, number one, being focus on your key differentiators. I can't make this point clearly enough that you've got to look at what your key differentiators are, not in your own eyes, but in your customer's eyes. What do they say about you? Like Robbie talked about brand. What do people say about you when they're talking to other people out in the world? Like Bristol, for instance. Bristol's known for music and racing and a few other things, great outdoors and some other, and great beer and some other things. But if somebody was in another country and you said, "Where's Bristol?" and they said, have you heard of Bristol Motor Speedway, the racetrack? They might say, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that." So Bristol's known for racing, for music, and a lot of other great things. But focus on your key differentiators when you're marketing, because it'll help you stand out. Number two, do what works. And what I mean by that is, and I'm going to give you guys some tools here in a second. Do what works just means analyze. It kind of goes with my number three, which is use your analytics and insights, but look at what's working for you. Don't always try to do the shiny, smart, cute, creative idea that's out there. Try to look at what's working in your analytics and in your insights, and do more of what's working. What I mean by that is, let's take Instagram, for instance. Christopher had that slide earlier that said, these are our top 5 posts, or this is our top 5 liked posts. You should be looking into that and maybe your neighbors or competitors and seeing, and I call that the unicorn strategy, the Instagram unicorn strategy, to look at and say, what's working for me and what's working for my competitors or my neighbors, and let's just focus on those. So if you see in your insights that these 5 posts just go right to the top of the charts, just do more of that. When Dale Jr. was racing, we put a lot of pictures of Dale Jr. up, right? Right now, anything that has a picture of dirt in the background seems to work. So we're just doing more of it. So do what works, use your analytics and insights, be looking at them all the time, and you can make a higher impact in your marketing. Number 4, do your research. Use research. There's so many good free tools out there like Google Forms and SurveyMonkey and all. Be doing research all the time. Ask your customers questions because they'll tell you what to do. I'll give you guys a good example. A few years ago when we were doing some brand research, we said, what sentence most resonates with you about Bristol Motor Speedway? And there was a few, there was this and the last great Coliseum and the world's fastest half mile. And those are some property monikers and different things. But I said right at the last second, I said, throw in It's Bristol Baby just to see if that works for people. And sure enough, that thing was top of the charts by far. So that was the year that we decided, let's just start throwing It's Bristol Baby in everything, because that's more of a consumer mantra than it is something that we thought of. Dale Jr. said it. You know, I know Jeff Bird used to love saying it, and customers love it and people love it. It makes you feel something when you're here. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to move someone, inspire someone to an emotion. And so do your research, ask questions all the time about not just customer service and what you can be doing better, but ask them about the brand and what they think about it. And they'll sometimes tell you what you should be, not only what you should be saying, but products you should be marketing. The last one I had was this one's about social media. Do what the social platforms want. And what I mean by that, and I talked with Kim and Leah about this a few weeks ago with the birthplace, is look at each social platform. They all want something, right? Instagram, first of all, they all want you to stay on their platforms longer. That's the first thing. But Instagram wants you to make it beautiful, and they want you to use hashtags so that it gets spread more. So make it beautiful and use more hashtags. Facebook, they want you to go live, use video, and solicit responses. By the way, all of this, Robbie and I have documents we've sent to Christopher. So if you need this afterwards, there's a PDF you can get from Chris. Facebook, go live and solicit responses, meaning start a conversation. Number 3, TikTok, use popular music. Get people to linger. That's the second one. Get people to linger. If they watch a video over and over and over again, you'll show up in their algorithm. You'll be on people's homepages more often on TikTok. On YouTube, they want you to click on the next video, and they want you to watch more videos and stay on the platform longer. So you got to make great content. Don't just put anything out there. Make great content and get people to click on the next video. There's tools inside of YouTube to do that. And Twitter, the heart, they want more likes. They want more people to like, because liking spreads it to other people. So those are a few things on social platforms. Do what the platforms want, and you'll show up more often in people's feeds. A few tools, and I'll be really quick about this. I put together a list. Again, it's in the document I sent to Christopher. Social scheduling tools. These are all free. Buffer and Later, buffer.com and later.com. Those are 2 great ones. Number 2 is a free graphic design tool. If you guys aren't using Canva, I use it on a daily basis. It's free. I know we all have fancy graphic designers who do amazing work. If you don't, Canva is a great tool. I've put in the document a free Instagram analyzer, because I was talking about looking at other accounts, looking at your friends and neighbors and seeing what their unicorn posts are. It's called Instagrammer.com, Instagrammer with 1 M. That's a good one. Hashtags, want to find the best hashtags? Go to best/hashtags.com. If you just type in a keyword, it will give you 30 hashtags of what's related to that keyword. And then number 5, live streaming tools. I am huge into live streaming. I think it has been enormous for us here at Bristol. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the recent ones we've done with the dirt tests and some other things. Two great tools. These are both paid, but they have kind of free versions as well. But restream.io, that's for multi-streaming, getting it out to all of your channels at once. And then the other one, the one we use as a producer, and it works on Macs, is called Ecamm Live. So sorry, I took up a lot of time. Sorry, Robbie.
No, You're good. We still have 4 minutes and 50-some seconds, so we've
Good.
got plenty of time. Robbie, is there anything you wanted to add there? Were you getting ready to say something?
No, that was good. Just
Yeah.
one other thought, for nonprofits. Google has Google ad grants that they make available. I don't know if folks are aware about that or not. So
We
for your
use it.
nonprofits, yes, tell your nonprofit friends also that they will provide up to $10,000 a month in Google search advertising. So that's a great resource to take advantage of. There are some exclusions to that. I know that as far as religious or education institutions, I think healthcare, there might be another one, but it's definitely worth checking out, see if you qualify.
Yeah, for tourism industry, it's really great. And thank you all so much. Those were good overviews, and there was a lot of things. I'm excited for Christopher to send out the information you all put together. I think one thing I love about our community is that we just work so well together. This whole region, but especially Bristol as a city, especially those of us in marketing and PR, we're always working together. We're always pitching ideas over or sending media to a different location and being able to do that. And I really liked what you all said about really looking at what your competitors are doing and looking what's going on in the city. You know, there's a lot of times I'll call Drew and say, okay, what are your website analytics saying?
Yeah.
Or I'll ask Alicia at Northeast Tennessee Tourism or Jeanette Southwest, what are your analytics saying? Because we have this new market from New York coming in this year. Is that weird or what's going on? And so I think it's really great when we all kind of work together. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask? We'll just keep talking then.
And Kim, if I could just have one.
I felt like there's a few people have been leaning in, so I just wanted to give you a Leah, what do you want to say?
One of the things I wanted to say was back to Drew when he talked about it's Bristol, baby. You know, when we opened the museum and the people that curated our films and stuff, if you haven't been, we have one museum in there that it's about the festival, but there's someone in there that yells, "It's Bristol, baby." So I mean, it is.
Yeah, in one of our big campaigns, it's got that in there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can all share that.
I think it's a city motto now by now.
That's right.
Anybody else have anything? Drew, you know, I always ask you this question, but I think it's really great for people to know, like, especially on social media and things like that, how important are hashtags? Should we be using them? And how many should we be using? You got 2 minutes, so
I think I'll try to give you a short answer. I think Instagram and Twitter, yes. I think the other, you're fine to use them on, I didn't really cover LinkedIn, but you're fine to use them on there. But LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok a little bit, few of them, but I think your highest impact to use hashtags is on Instagram and Twitter.
Good, great. Okay, that's good. Robbie, and
and the Instagram tip is put the hashtags in the first comment. Put the hashtags in the first comment. Don't do it as your main post. Put it in the first comment. It'll still get the same virality, I guess. It's a good.
Right. And Robbie, great points
marketing
about
language.
being accessible to the media. I think that is so important that when media is looking for a story, if they know that they can get to someone on your team to talk about whatever that topic is, you'll get more of those stories. I know we do. I mean, they'll call us at last minute and they'll say, hey, can we come over and grab something on this? And we'll go ahead and do that. And you're right, it builds that goodwill.
Right.
And so if something happens, hopefully we have enough goodwill to kind of carry us through that.
We always advise our clients to never turn down a media opportunity. So always speak to the media, be accessible, be available, because they know that if they can, if you are available, that they'll come back. So
Right. Right.
And just one other point too, you're talking about analytics and insights on websites too. It's one, just really putting your websites to work for you and seeing where's your traffic coming from. What kind of traffic are you pulling in the traffic that you want to come to your site? And if so, where are they going? How much time are they spending? And that was so critical pre-COVID, but even more so over the last year.
Get to know Google Analytics.
Yes,
definitely. Can be a friend of yours.
Well, thank you, everybody. I think this is going to kick us back to the next session in 10 seconds. So I do appreciate Robbie and Drew. Thank you so much for your experts.
Thank you.
Everybody, just ask, if you have questions. We're all here.
Yep.
So see you later.